Hello guys, and welcome back to another adventure in World of Warcraft The War Within Mythic Dungeon Season 3. Today we're gonna trip into Tazavash, which is the mega dungeon which is part of the Mythic Season, this expansion. It is divided in two instances for Mythic, which are Streets of Wonder and Solial Gambit. This one is Streets of Wonder 11, so it's a bit higher than what we saw last on the 10 Arakara. The first 11 of the season again. I'm playing as Discipline Voidweaver. I will leave the link in description from the talent build. The difference from last week is that this week I actually have Forced bonus, and I think it will make a huge difference in terms of damage output and healing output by consequence. So what the set for Voidweaver does on Discipline is like to enhance your black hole that you generate through your Mind Blast, so that every time you cast the Dark Empowered Smite, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and explodes for more damage. So that's another burst of healing that will be very useful in this run, because there's a lot of spike damage, especially from this trash, which we don't exactly know where it comes from. Like, it's sort of a cleave ability that goes on, and there's a massive tank buster as well. You also have to dodge these fancy little lasers, and there's a magical debuff that will be put on players that slows movement speed, so it's better to just dispel that as fast as you can. Our group composition is not optimal this time. We don't have a proper Bloodlust class, so we used feral hide drums, or the equivalent for this season. But as you will see, it won't really make a difference. The affix form this week is Pulsar. So if you actually grab all your friends' black balls rotating around you when the affix is active, then you will get a bonus to mastery, which I really like. So before the first boss, there's this mini boss here. This guy is pretty annoying. He has like a frontal that is not very visible, as you will see. Here we had 2 casualties because we decided to pull the trash onto the boss, and the trash does the usual abilities that we already seen before. So these white lines that you see on the ground are the AoE to stay away from. It can be pretty unfortunate if you have the movement debuff, and generally speaking there's a lot going on in this pool, so you kind of really want to pay attention to where you stand. After this, we're gonna face the first boss of the instance. I don't dislike this instance. I think it's a bit overtuned. They already nerfed it, if I'm not mistaken, as they did with Gambit, because the damage was kind of out of scale, even on lower keys. As you see, there's a lot of burst damage on everyone, and I was slightly panicking. I wish I could have you hear, and here I'm dying, have you hear my in-game recorded reactions to it, but maybe we will make a blooper video out of that. Anyways, we're about to pull the boss. This first boss is Sophex. He's a massive robot with 4 arms. He has a bunch of abilities. First, he has like the armored security, which are the white circles with the spinning weapon that you will see in a bit. Stay out of those, they can spawn on top of you. He has a massive frontal, very large, that needs to be actually dodged. See, this is the armed security. In addition to this, it will actually impound contraband once in a while on random players. It will basically disarm you, and you will be silenced until you find your weapon again. So that, combined with all the movement and dodging those whirlies, can be kind of difficult on this boss, especially because, in my opinion, the weapon is not very visible. So there's a lot going on. You still have to go around and heal your friends, and you also have to look for your weapon, and you're silenced all the way, so not optimal. This is the interrogation ability, which is the other big boss ability. Basically, we'll choose a player, imprison it, the player will be stunned, the boss will start moving slowly towards them while rotating his swords. Anyone that stands in front of him will be blended, so don't stand in front of that. The rest of the party will have to break the chains, break the prison. You can actually life grip to move the prison away if the boss is getting too close because your DPS is struggling, or rescue from the evoker's work as well. Not that we have seen many evokers in my compositions of party boss. See, that's the interrogation again. Don't stand in the frontal, don't go close to it. We have a pretty ranged people party, so it's fine. And that's basically the gist of it. There's also a cast that needs to be interrupted, which is... no, there's no cast, sorry. That's the last boss. I'm sorry. I'm getting old here. Anyways, the gist of the fight is this one. You see, you can get pretty much in a complicated spot, and this affix is kind of nice. I like this affix. Usually, in this fight, you have to move a lot, so you have to really pay attention to grab the balls before they expire. Okay. That was my impound contraband, and I was getting my staff that was in a corner between all the swirlies. So you can also get it in a swirly, and so yeah, you have to pay attention to that. This was me experimenting life grip on this very last seconds of the fight and almost killing the druid. Onward and upwards, we have to go out from this first room. Basically, there's more trash, the one that spawns the laser on the ground. We decided to move back into the room because this corridor is not optimal with all the lasers and stuff spawning, so it's just easier, since you cleared everything anyways, to pull it slightly back so you don't have the problem of people standing in the laser. You can take one tick, it will leave a dot on you, but 2 ticks is pretty little, and it will pretty much be your demise even if you pop your personal cooldowns. Maybe with higher gear would be a bit less cringe, but for now it is what it is, so stay out of the lasers. This is a mechanic that we will encounter again on the next mini boss in the trash, which is not as half as annoying as the first mini boss was, so don't worry about that. Here we are, we kill these dudes, and then we run, jump down, and go onward to the bridge. On the bridge there's the second mini boss. So this guy, pretty much like the City of Threads first boss, will have AoE around him that prevents you from exiting. You have to stay inside. It will also spawn lasers, just like the ones that we saw before. So what we want to do is bait the lasers to the back of the boss and move the boss slowly on top of you go on the bridge. You can also pull the 2 core hounds that are at the end of the bridge if you want on top of this. We did it sometimes in lower keys. Just be mindful that those have a cast, and that has to be interrupted. It's a fear, and since you can't exit the circle, that's pretty cringe if it goes through. Core hounds, just like the molten core hounds, have to die kind of the same time, so you want to cleave these and DPS them down without leaving one living too long, because if you do, they will just come back to life at full health, and you don't want that. So they also have a big frontal that has to be dodged, but pretty much they're not too terrible. I mean, just be mindful of the cast, DPS them down. Here we have a lot of AoE in our group, so it's not really a problem cleaving on these 2 big dudes. You can also pull the dinosaur with these ones. The dinosaur, which we will see in a bit, as a charge ability that deals damage to the person that is hit by it, and you kind of don't want to bring your friends in, so here we chose to take it to the safest way. There it is. We had it. Okay. Onward we go down. Here you will see. If I get into this corner, until as of today, you could trigger the RP for the next boss, which is the Menagerie boss. So that boss has a role-playing dialogue at the beginning, so you kind of want to cut on that on a timed run. So if you get into the corner there to the door, you are able to start it before actually entering the room. So that will cut some time on your runs. Here, these are like these panther kind of mobs. They do a pouncing ability that leaves a dot. You kind of want to stay in melee so that you don't lose up time on, and they don't jump all around behind people and stuff. These two dudes we are gonna pull onto the first boss, onto the first of the three bosses in Menagerie. They don't do much. The soldiers, they are like the defenders in Priory. They have an AoE ability around them. To sometimes they cast it and will prevent damage. So you want to knock up, interrupt, fear, stun. You can't really interrupt with a normal interrupt. This is the first boss of the three in the Menagerie, Alcrux. So this guy, the first ability is like that, this big blue circle around him. The big blue circle around him will suck you in, and then you have to run out. It's pretty basic. Aside from that, randomly a person will get this blue circling AoE around them that will be useful later on. Additionally, the boss will spawn these circles. They are timed in the spawning and exploding, so you can stand in the first one, and when it's about to come down, you just step into the second one that spawned right next to you, and then move out of that. So basically, you move 2 times to avoid the big AoE on the ground. When it's about to die, which will take a while, but here it is. There will be the second boss, which is basically the robot. The robot has an ability that interacts with the blue swirly circle around people. At this time, you will always have 2 bosses for some time overlapping. So now the first one is about to die, and the second now is up. We're gonna drag him to the corner because he will keep spawning these light blue balls that you have to suck with the big AoE ability, you know, the blue circle. Here you see that one of our druids, and then it's me. I kind of tend to stand in melee close to it so I can suck them, because they will always spawn from his body even after he died. So you want to kill him in a corner so you can somehow prevent the balls from spawning on all 4 sides, and you will have like one side covered by the wall. But yeah, you will still get the swirly and the little blue balls to soak even when the third boss spawns, which is the goblin that we will see in a second. I'm about to die here. Okay, this girl, sorry, has a debuff ability that will basically she casts these whirling abilities which suck players in. You don't want to stand in the white circle. Meanwhile, you will still have the blue swirling going on one of the players. Note that if you soak the blue balls, you will get an haste buff afterwards. The other ability is Chains of Damnation, which killed me right here. The Chains of Damnation basically root you in place and have to be broken by your friends. If you're a druid, you can shapeshift out of it. It's very overpowered. Or it can happen to me, like it did to me, that you're standing in a spot where the little blue balls are coming, so you will die if no one soaks the balls around you. So if you get the sucking swirly, you have to pay attention to where your friends are with the chains, basically. And that's it. That's the gist of it. And second boss is down. Now we're gonna go exit here and pull some trash on the way to the third boss. I think we took Postal Dude before before the club ability. There are 5 bosses in this instance, which is kind of a lot. This trash can be pretty annoying. The casters do a lot of damage. Here we actually kind of pulled by mistake, because you don't really need these dudes. You can safely skip them and just go further ahead and turn left. You can hug the wall and avoid pulling anything until you get to the street that leads to the Postal Dude and the market. But anyways, here you see the melee dudes just have this protection ability that needs to be somehow knocked back to interrupted, but the other one, the casters, really are annoying and can basically almost one-shot people. There's also a magic debuff going on as well here to dispel from the casters, so you have to pay attention to that. Also, don't cross those barriers that you see on the streets, because they do a lot of damage. They are like the lasers that leave a dot and will hurt you bad, so don't do it. Okay, here's the pool. This pool is also pretty hurtful, but we managed it pretty okay. So kill everything, stun, knockback, this ability that you see, because we protected and also the other dudes from taking damage, so you don't want that. Interrupt the casters and move on. Dispel the magic debuff. It's actually the usual movement reduction debuff, so it's not super dangerous here because there aren't many other stuff going on, but many other things going on, but yeah. It's just a healer's reflex to dispel these kind of things. So after this, we're gonna get to the third boss. The third boss has a bunch of abilities that need a bit of coordination from the group. But basically, once you get to him, the first thing you have to do... Oh, we're going market first? Oh my god. Sorry. Okay, market is like a mini event in which you have to talk to this guy and retrieve a bunch of artifacts. Each artifact will have ads spawning, so it's like 3 artifacts, and if you bring all 3 items to the guy, you will get a passcode to open the door to the secret music club where the boss fight will be. So note that when you talk to the first dude, you will spawn ads. So if you're not the tank, don't talk to anyone. You know, like your mama said when you were little, don't give confidence to strangers. Don't trust anyone. Let your tank handle it, because these ads can slap pretty hard. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to be one-shotted. So here we are just vibing and killing stuff and getting the items that we need. If you have big wigs, you will pretty much like in any other instance that has some puzzle to be solved, you will get the passcode automatically when you talk to the guy after you looted the 3 items, so I actually advise you to use that. I'm a big fan of big wigs, I've used it for ages at this point. So yeah, this is a pretty big pool because we took 2 together. Yeah, because we like pain, but we really wanted to time this as well. And aside from the damage side of it, this 11 felt kind of doable. Yeah, also don't overlap the circles from these mobs because, as you see, you die. You want to pay attention to where you're standing. Okay, should be almost done, and then we get into the club. The club is called Mitsa's Oasis, and so you will face the boss. This has been nerfed as of last week. The boss had like 3 waves of ads spawning. Now it has only 1, and then it's the boss fight, which is kind of nice because it was very long and kind of annoying. It wasn't really hard, it was just mostly long. Okay, so here's the dude you have to give the passcode to, and we'll open the door to the Oasis. Anytime. There's some dialogue going on. There we go. Ivory Shell. It changes every time, every run. So if you're a warlock, you can have him place a portal up here. So when you run out, it's really fast instead of running all the way up the stairs. So what's new in this fight? There are these instruments. You're basically a band performing in the Oasis. Each one of you will choose one. Healers usually get the drums because it's the easiest to deal with while healing the fight here. You will have an extraction button and you will have to hit the notes. If you hit the notes, you get a damage buff and a haste buff. So periodically in the fight, like 2 or 3 times, you will have to do this. If you don't do this, you have significantly less damage and will take more time to kill the ads and the boss. So these are the ads. Randomly throughout the fight, the audience will throw rotten tomatoes at you, which are the green swirlies on the ground. You don't want to stand in any of those because those are lethal. But I discovered that if you are a healer and you stand, you use your drums, in any of these AoE abilities you are immune, even the boss frontal, as you will see in a while. Now we're waiting for the boss to take his sweet time to come to us. Meanwhile, we refresh our damage buff. See, the swirlies and some of the abilities still go on from the public, but it's nothing major, you just have to dodge them. And here is finally arriving. the guy, Zogron. Zogron has a few abilities. One is a cast that needs to be interrupted, which is incredibly bad if you don't do it. Then he has a big frontal cone and a sock again with a swirly around you that will deal damage to you when it expires. So not only you want to stay away from the boss, but you want to stay away from your friends while you run away from that. So that's the frontal. It's not very visible, as you see. There's no clear line outside. And here is like time to refresh my buff. I kinda forgot about it and just didn't bother with it. Why do you want the damage buff to be up? Because at some point in the fight, the boss will get a big shield around him, and it will cast crowd control while having the shield, like not the crowd control, sorry, the warning here. If you don't interrupt the warning, you wipe. So you really want to get your damage buff going on to break the shield. Here we kinda we were very close to not breaking it because some of us didn't, me included, but well, I'm the healer, but yeah, me included, didn't get it. So don't do like us and take it every time you can. Then again, run away. Watch out for the swirlies from the crowd. Here I'm refreshing my debuff. Note that you can heal while be sat on the drums, and you, as you see, I'm still standing in the front, but I'm immune to it. See, no damage. So that's pretty neat to know. He's about to die. When he dies, if our warlock was good and put the portal down, we portal up the stairs and just run out to go to the male boss, which is the penultimate boss in this run. You can also run this boss as a fourth and the mailbox as a third. Much depends on the routing and what you prefer. We did this because I think then we don't have to run back again, because if you run the Oasis as a fourth, then you have to run back here to go upstairs to the last boss. So we wait outside for the tank to pull all the trash in the room. This trash can be pretty annoying, and in fact we're gonna bloodlust this pool instead of the boss, I think. These guys have a random stun that will turn you into a chicken, and sort of like a bunch of AoE abilities, AoE damage going on. So you kind of really don't want to be stunned much. So we use our silence, our stuns, our knockbacks, everything we can to prevent them as much as possible from casting. Some cast will still go on, but you see we have a pretty decent DPS, so they get burned down very fast, and that's very good. So once we kill all the trash, we get inside and face the mailroom mayhem, the primary office for sending things, the post. So this guy has a bunch of mechanics. So the first one is there will be puddle of swirlies spawning. You want to soak the swirls as much as you can, especially in the center, and keep the area clean. You won't be able to soak all of them, so you will have some puddles standing around, like these are the soaks. You want to have at least one person standing it. It will leave a dot on you. And then the boss will cast an AoE ability, which is sort of a whirlwind, that does a lot of damage, that requires healing cooldowns to be dealt with. Here you can dispel, and you should dispel the debuff on you. Then there's like a collective soak in which everyone has to stand in. And again, AoE damage. Here is my my UPs going off. After this, it will spawn some luggage, some suitcase that has to be brought to the active postal hole. If you have your extraction button binded, as you should, it's pretty easy. You pick up the luggage and then you actually have to target with the reticulate the thing, and then we go again. We soak, try to keep clean as much as possible the room. Here there was my mass dispel. Then there's like the swirly again. There's a lot of healing going on in this fight, but I kind of like this fight if the group is coordinated and can deal with the mechanics, which is our case, thankfully. And so rinse and repeat until the boss is dead. This is a lot of pug breaks here because the mechanics have to be dealt with, and sometimes you can spawn a luggage inside of one of the puddles. The puddles do a lot of damage, so you don't want to stand in that. You can take one tick quickly if you really need to, but that's about it. So that's what we that's what we did. We dealt pretty much. You can forget about the puddles spawning on top of other puddles unless they prevent you from moving, but you know, around. But here we were pretty good with handling that mechanic, and it was pretty smooth. It was a nice kill. Just the first sword was a bit scary from a healer's perspective, but sure. If people use their personals, it's easier. So I think we will have, no, we're gonna, I think we're gonna probably ignore this, no, I did it, but we could have ignored probably this round of luggage. Note that if you don't dispose of the luggage in time, they have a ticking time bomb on top of them and they will explode for a lot of damage. You can probably handle one explosions with healer's cooldown, but you have a lot of healing going on already, so you kind of want to deal with that the proper way. Here is the last mini-boss before the last boss. There's a skip to this mini-boss that we kind of always fail, and we needed this for percentage, so we couldn't really skip it. But you can either Shadow Melt skip it, or there's a way of jumping on top of the side of the Odo's control keyboard, but it's a bit finicky, so I actually don't advise it. Here, the boss will spawn swirlies that you have to dodge, and then it will link you to another player and will drag you together. You don't want to get together, because if you touch one another, you get a big dot on you, and you kind of don't want it. Here I cheesed it a bit. If you stand behind the stands, the food stands, you basically don't move, so you can't cast. And basically I cocked the other person because he had to deal with everything. But yeah, okay, healer's prior. Once you kill this, you basically just click the big console that stands there and will teleport you to the last room. So last boss, I like to call him the geometry boss, because you kind of have to know your shapes. It's a fun fight, but there's like a lot of damage going again, and it can be a bit messy for coordination sometimes. So this boss, basically what we'll do, now you'll see that it will spawn some pillars. On top of each pillars there's a shape, so it can be a triangle, a circle, a square. It will spawn those 2 by 2 in different locations in the area. So if you step into the, say, triangle pillar, you will be teleported to the other triangle pillar. This mechanic is important because the boss will at some point divide the room, first into splits, then 4, then more. And you won't be able to DPS if you're on the other side of the split. Also, the other big important mechanic here is the circle that will spawn on the ground that you will need the teleport to jump through. So you can't step over it. I think you can blink it as mage, but you don't want to ever step on it because it leaves a giant dot on you. So see, when the time is right, we're gonna step into triangle and avoid being touched by the circle. The other mechanic in this fight is a huge dot that the boss will place on 3 people in your party. That really hurts, it keeps you on your toes, and really requires attention. It's always 3 people, and it's pretty frequent, as you see. That's the red outline. Here I failed at taking the teleport. That was a bit finicky, it's my fault. We actually wiped this first time, but then, you know, we just go again. Note that one thing I haven't mentioned in the other videos is from this season they finally introduced stones to each boss. So after you defeat a boss, you get a respawn point, so you don't have to run all the way from the beginning of the instance like it happened till not so long ago. So that's a very good change. Thanks Blizzard for doing that. People were asking for it for a while. Yeah, so here we won't have bloodlust because we use it on the trash, but it's fine. It's gonna be okay. We have 4 minutes and a half to kill this boss, and then we start again as you saw before. Now the 3 dots are gonna go out on people, so I make sure I have my atonements on everyone, and I keep my Voidweaver for this first moment. But since it's 30 seconds cooldown, I use it pretty liberally, and I just hold it if the ability that I fear is very close, like 5 seconds away, something like that. Else I just send it and I will have it back. So here we were in voice, so we could communicate which teleport to take and when, which was very useful. So here we're taking square. See that, note that if you have the debuff and you don't take the teleport with the rest of the party, you won't get healed because I can't see you through the barrier. You see this very light barrier that the boss spawns in the room. So you kind of want to move early near the teleport that's gonna be the one that you want to take. Sometimes you have to take 2 teleports, and it will happen, I think, towards the end of this fight. Especially when you get like 4 partitions in the room, and the boss chooses a random area to teleport. So yeah, see, triangle, we're fine. We will have to go back through triangle inside of it so that we don't get swiped by the circle. The boss will always follow the tank, so once the tank actually teleports, the boss will run very fast to him. It's kind of nice to see, like it's a bit funny in animation. Here we take circle, and we can stay here. And then we take square because it moved to the other section, so keep your personals for the big dot, which is pretty constant, as we said before. And especially if you're not close to your healer because you took a teleport, or you know, you've been separated for some reason, just keep your cooldowns, health pots, and if you have a lock, health stones for that. Okay, and that's pretty much it, the gist of the fight. It was a bit scary the first time I did it, but now I kind of like this place. I like streets, and that's the kill. Thanks for watching. See you on the other instance. We did it! Good job! Oh my god, it's 8!